Chapter. Need. Chapter. Oh, this content drought is killing me. Finally! At last, the drought is over! It's a new chapter! Wait, what's this? So yeah, it looks like my predictions of things going back to normal for a bit were, well, a bit off, as the series is going on another 2-week break after this. Is this the new norm? Only time will tell. And until we know, let's just enjoy what we've got for now. And don't forget to support Sunday, as they are also suffering during this drought of content, by checking out the chapter where they post them. And also support 7Cs, as they are actually helping us during this drought, as they just released Volume 17, so go check that out in your local region. I'm Moonlight150, and this is my overview of the latest 100 Girlfriends manga chapter, Chapter 245, Rentero's Family Daily Life Part. We've now hit double digits with this sub-series, and we're still only in the 30s with the number of girlfriends somehow. Nano has become curious in Grope Grope Nano. After the 1000th groping by Momiji that week alone, Nano begins to try to understand Momiji a bit more and her fascination with groping, particularly of that with boobs. As she explains, all boobs, big or small, have their own distinct charms. Nano decides to put the scientific method to use and test that hypothesis and look for a test subject. Though she is left with only Karane, it seems, and Momiji did specify a chest larger than her own for the experiment. Only until Karane gets upset at the shade thrown her way and insists that Nano uses her for her experiment, so Karane ends up just volunteering herself.
Shame!
Also, can we call attention to Nano's face here when Karane grabs her? That dismissive, unimpressed stare down is amazing. Now with the test subject in her possession, even if she just barely qualifies, Nano proceeds with her experiment, only to be hit with. So now we have conclusive evidence that Karane's boobs feel the same as a newborn child's cheek, as that is how Nano described Shizuka's cheeks back during the Lovelyland arc. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this information, Nano. Maybe the people who are in charge of the 100 Girlfriends wiki can do something with it. Himika and Nemu are the early morning risers today in Contagious ZZZZ, as these two were the first to arrive for the morning walk to the school meetup. Which just reminds me, I really want a chapter just showing that off. Answer some questions for me. Like, whom is usually the first to arrive? Who is normally late? Why isn't Rentero the first there every morning to greet his girlfriends? And with certain girlfriends being teachers, shouldn't they be at the school much earlier already before the students arrive? Inquiring minds wish to know these answers. But for now we'll settle for this, as these two are the first to arrive this morning. Though getting there so early, Nemu decides to catch a few extra Z's in the meantime on Himika's shoulder. Kind of surprised honestly, the always sleep-deprived Nemu is one of the first at the meetups. You'd think she'd always be running late from sleeping in too much. But as anyone who has ever been in a room with someone who has yawned will tell you, the desire to sleep spreads. And Himika catches herself nodding off for a bit, which, after her power nap standing on the side of the road, Himika thanks Nemu for granting her this new abnormality. Poor girl just wants to be abnormal so bad, yet she's like the most normie of the whole family. It's a food emergency for Kurumi in Irk and Squeeze as she takes off for the school store to get some grub before meeting up with everyone on the roof. Unbeknownst to Kurumi, there's an eager bunny lying in the wings waiting to pounce. And pounce she did as she grabs Kurumi like a predator catching her prey. But the prey in this situation fights back, telling her to get off, which causes the poor bunny to collapse on the floor from the sheer loneliness of rejection. And even though Usa-chan is lying there on the floor on the brink of death, she still offers Kurumi a snack to help satiate her hunger. And Kurumi apologizes and gives Usa-chan what she wants, that being embraced by another person, only after metamorphosizing back into a human form from her cryptid bunny form. So we learn 3 things from this segment. First one being, this shadow bunny form that Usa-chan takes when she is dying by desolation or in some other extreme condition is basically confirmed real and not just some fun artist interpretation as we see her slowly change back. 2, this is a nice callback to Usa-chan and Kimari's focus chapter where they admit they are still learning about the appropriate distance for friends, and that is still an ongoing lesson for her. And 3, with Usa-chan having that snack in her pocket ready at a moment's notice, makes me feel like the Rentero family has this list of safety protocols and ready kits for everyone to be prepared for. That list probably includes rules and things like always have snacks on your person in case of hangry Kurumi, a dictionary for all of Ms. Natty's Americanisms, be aware Momiji may grope you at any moment of the day, instructions on how to take care of Kishka in baby mode, earplugs for when Uto plays the ocarina, be on alert for when Mai is bound to trip and fall, instructions on how to take care of a drunken Momoha, a cat toy on hand to entertain Tama, be ready to receive or give hugs for Usa-chan especially once she goes into her cryptid form, Nemu may fall asleep on or near you and not to be alarmed by her sleepwalking mode, Hasta will most likely sniff you at some point throughout the day, maybe even multiple times, and keep some extra articles of clothing ready in case of cold Kogoe. Can't blame Kurumi for forgetting that in the moment as she was sneak attacked by Usa-chan. We've all snap-yelled at someone we don't mean to while in a bad mood. Also, it's kind of nice to see irked Kurumi again after quite some time. It almost felt like Nakamura kind of forgot about that aspect of her character instead of just being a foodie. It's time for Eru to play with their latest models for Twin Tails in Enjoy the Twin Tails, as Nurse Chiyu and Kogoe weren't around for her hairstyling adventure from her introduction. So it's time to haze them. I guess we should add Eru may ask to style your hair into Twin Tails at any time throughout the day to that list from earlier. After completing Nurse Chiyu's Twin Tails, Kogoe looks on in admiration. Mostly that Nurse Chiyu's voluminous gorgeous Twin Tails look warm, and Eru takes the longing stare from Kogoe that she wishes to have them too. And after a quick Twin Tail makeover, Kogoe is now rocking the Twin Tails too. Though with the change in hairstyle, it seems Mr. Temperature has other plans, as the now exposed nape of Kogoe is giving her the chills. But as we stated in the Rentaro Family Safety Protocol guidelines, always have something ready to offer Kogoe for warmth, and Eru and Nurse Chiyu wrap their twin tails around Kogoe's neck to keep her warm. Oh, and Rentaro once again joined them on the rooftop and saw those two in their twin tails, and he most likely exploded. Again. It's a battle between passion and consideration in Passion and Consideration, for the long story segment of this daily life chapter. As a lunch break with fellow girlfriends around, Matsuri talks about her passion of making her family's yakisoba recipe even better. But then...
Yoink.
And Kasuri has brought Matsuri a gift of a brand new drug that, with just a splash, the yakisoba tastes all the better. What's in that drug, Kasuri? Have we finally started experimenting with meth? Is there meth in that liquid, Kasuri? Well, meth or not, Matsuri is having none of those artificial enhancers, and storms off as she has taken quite the offense to Kasuri's offering, which has Mimimi follow after her. We then see some growing up from Matsuri as she immediately recognizes how bad it was to storm off, especially after Kasuri did something for her. But even more surprisingly, we see Mimimi actually defend Matsuri's outburst. I won't read everything because this is one of those times that Sunday did a stellar job in giving this great speech to Mimimi about not letting others trample over your passions or values, even if they are your friend. Or in this case, fellow sister, wife, fiance thing. That in any kind of relationship, whether that be lovers, friends, or sister, wife, fiance, ship thing, that communication is key, especially when someone upsets you. I gave a haphazard summary of what she said, but do be sure to go read the full thing for yourself, and take notes because it's a good life lesson. On the flip side of that, we have Saki giving Kasuri a talking to, trying to help her understand the error of her ways. Look at Saki actually being a full-on senpai. Have we ever seen this yet? This is such a good segment for everyone involved. Mimi continues to be one of the most emotionally intelligent girlfriends in the group, always being there helping guide others with their problems. Matsuri learns to better control her emotions, or at least recognize she may be the one at fault instead of just blindly getting angry. Saki being a proper senpai, handing out advice. Though Kasuri and her are the same grade, so she isn't her senpai, but this is 8-year-old Kasuri we're talking about. She may as well actually be your senpai. 18-year-old Kasuri has been missing for going on 9 chapters and counting. But at the very least she saw the error of her ways after Saki pointed out instead of just being a thick-skulled 8-year-old about it. And once everything settled down, Matsuri and Mimi came back to the rooftop to have Matsuri apologize, and god damn it, was there actually meth in those drugs? Outside of the highlights of those segments that I pointed out earlier that showed growing or learning a bit for all involved, my biggest takeaway is the fact that we actually had conflict between family members that wasn't solved with everyone being all lovey-dovey. It worked with the Kurumi and Usa-chan segment previously because it was just a small spat over a heat-of-the-moment miscommunication from a hangry Kurumi. Those kinds of things can be solved with lovey-dovey manga shenanigans, that I don't mind. What we have here though is a conflict of ideals that can be boiled down to differing ideologies. Matsuri is an artist, and like with most artists, and hell, anyone who has any kind of hobby, the journey to working on your craft is just as important as the destination itself. Matsuri wants to make her family's yakisoba recipe even better, and is going to enjoy every attempt and failure along the way until she gets it right. Whereas Kasuri is the scientific type. Those who lean more into this don't look at the journey. They see the beginning, most of the time that being a problem of some kind, and the end where they find the solution. not really considering the experimentation that goes along until finding the solution.
Hold up!
Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely those in the science community who love the scientific process and getting stuff wrong along the way until the solution arises. Look at the Mythbusters, for example. But then there are those who, like I said, see a problem and then find a solution, not really finding joy in the process to find that solution.
I am mad scientist.
No matter how many times you blow up the lab and Kimari gets angry at you for doing so. Basically what I'm long-windedly saying is that Kusuri gave Matsuri an easy way out of her life's goal. Kusuri thought she was doing Matsuri a favor by just dropping the solution in her lap and saying that she should be grateful. In some ways, it's like Kusuri spat in Matsuri's face, like, hey, you know that thing you've been working on your whole life? Here, I just solved that over the weekend. You're welcome. I usually try to avoid controversial topics in my videos, but the parallels are too strong that I can't help but make the comparison, and even wonder if they weren't intentional by Nakamura. But this whole conversation and the conflicting ideals presented in the story can also be applied to AI being used for in the arts. Think of Matsuri being an illustrator who is still honing her craft, making it her life goal to draw the most epic-looking dragon portrait anyone has ever seen. And Kusuri comes along and types epic dragon portrait into an AI image maker and says, there you go, you can thank me later. Or even worse, just plops Matsuri down in front of a computer and says, now you don't have to do all that work, it's so easy now, invalidating everything Matsuri has done up to this point in her life to just typing a prompt, taking away all the hard work Matsuri has done up to that point for an easy solution. Where was I before I went on this tangent?
Where am I?
Alright, meaning behind the situation aside from where I originally started out on this conversation, is the fact that I like that there's an actual conflict between girlfriends. With this many characters and many more to come, especially characters with such unique and different personalities among them, it's only natural they'll be butting heads. Comedic meth-induced ending aside, I like that the ending was leaning more towards the girlfriends taking a minute to cool off and then wanting to open a communication between one another, and why they got upset so they hopefully can both learn and grow together by working things out. And I hope Nakamura continues these kind of stories going forward, especially in daily life segments. It's these type of stories that make the characters feel real. Yeah, they can be caricatures for the sake of comedy sometimes, that's all fine and dandy, but it's these type of stories that keep reminding me why I like these characters so much, and appreciate what Nakamura has created so far with the insane feat of 36 girlfriends, and the fact that they all do feel so different, and can barely comprehend that we are only at 36 out of 100. With a group this large and personalities that are even larger, conflicts like these are bound to happen, and it's nice that Nakamura isn't afraid to tackle that instead of just saying everyone magically gets along with no fights or bickering. Kind of like the problem I had with the Usa-chan focus chapter not so long ago, where her clinginess wasn't really addressed as a problem even though it kind of was to everyone. It adds a bit of realism to the absurdity of the premise of this series to have these moments of, these are two characters who have different outlooks on life. How do we resolve this for the sake of our friendship and our shared boyfriend? And before we get to the ending, I just want to call out Kusuri calling Saki a classmate like it was a slur, because to Saki, it probably was. Actually hilarious. Whew, think I'm done. This video is coming out much later than my usual time period because 1, I'm kind of taking advantage of the break weeks myself, and 2, I really wanted to stew on that last segment and make sure I got all of my thoughts organized and properly conveyed why I like it so much. And yeah, like it was shown at the beginning, this is the only chapter we are getting this month as the series is going on another 2-week break, as Nozawa is in full maternity leave mode now. Speaking of that break announcement, does this message at the end indicate that the next chapter is going to be drawn by Nakamura himself? If so, that would be a hilarious and great way to keep putting out full chapters while your illustrator is on maternity leave. Especially since this series loves to break the fourth wall and would call attention to the change in art style. But that'll finally do it for me for this video. Don't worry though, there may not be chapters to review, but we'll be doing plenty more to keep the waits not feel so long. The council and I have stream ideas, and I've been really enjoying my translation versus scanlation comparison streams, and I've also been working on other things in the background. Not to mention we are more than likely getting the Season 3 trailer for the anime by the end of the month, so I'll have a reaction and breakdown analysis for that as soon as possible when it drops. I've been Moonlight150, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and splash that totally not meth-infused drug on that notification bell so you'll be able to catch all the content and streams as they happen. I'll see you all in April.